shit go hard though. Go ahead.
What up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? I hope everybody's having a great day. I am doing a quick little update because one, it's New Year's Eve, two, University of Miami versus Ohio State Buckeyes is tonight, and I am not going to miss that. All right, so we're just going to get into it. This is going to be really brief. A couple of you guys, and I kind of explained what I was looking at. All right, so first things first, guys, looking at the higher time frames. Let's go to the higher time frames. All right, get rid of this out of the way. Boom, 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 boom. All right, first things first, man, that I can see is I have a couple of these nodes marked out that I expect price to gravitate to if we end up breaking and retesting these other nodes that are below us. All right, something super simple, man. All right, as you can see right now, we are hanging out in between this little node and this little node. All right, but this anchored anchored volume profile, this thing, uh, is showing us this whole price action. All right. When you zoom in a bit and you take out your fixed range, which is this guy right here, I've got it pulled from around this area, which is the node, all the way to the right. You see that we form a more distinct imbalance. All right. We got this here. We got this here. All right. And this is the imbalance right over here. That's where we're hanging out. All right. Right now, it looks like we're currently trying to find support. We did move our POC up. All right. So if I go back to candles, let's see. Look where the POC was. It was where my red line is. Look at this right here. All right, we move the POC up. That just means that we have volume within this area and that you have multiple price levels that are competing with, like, people are just getting into positions down here. All right, and the higher we go with people getting into positions, that means we're going to build volume and possibly raise that POC. All right, the same thing could happen if, say, I'm not saying this is my prediction, but we come up here and then we start kind of ranging over here. There's a good chance the POC from here is going to shift up to here. All right. So what I'm kind of looking for now, man, and I'm going to keep this zone. All right. I'm going to keep that zone because it represents this whole volume node. That whole, at any sneeze or fart, man, the POC could get dropped back down here. If we were to go down lower and just trade a little bit over here, that POC is going to shift. So more so, I'm going to be looking for this as a zone right around here. Let me just put the setting style. No extension. All right. And what I'm looking for, and on the lower time frames, you can more so see this. Let me switch down. All right. Is a break of this. Hold on. Get my magic deck. Break of this. All right. Which we've already done. And now a retest of this node. All right, so now what I'm looking for is some type of accumulation or something within this area that gives me an idea that, all right, there's a good chance we might go higher. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm paying attention because you saw on the daily the POC. Let me see if I can represent this real quick because the POC just shifted down on us again. All right. But regardless of where that's at, what I'm looking for is a break and a retest of that node. All right, my next target, all right, if we successfully accumulate and start heading higher from here, would be up to this node at about 90. All right. As we go higher, we see that we have another high volume node up here, which I personally like a lot more than this target, because this target right here, this red line, guess what it doesn't take out? It doesn't take these out. It doesn't fix this. All right, this next volume node up here does all those things. It takes all of these equal highs out. It fills this imbalance that's left over. So I like this right here. Where would I take profit? If I were to enter around here, I would probably be taking profit right here in the middle of the low volume node. All right, those tend to get reactions, man. There's no reason, if I'm coming up here to the middle of the low volume node, that's close to 2%. There's no reason for me to try to expect it to go all the way to the top. All right, I've seen it happen all the time where you get a clean bounce from a node, come up to the low volume node, and then just put in a lower high and get shut down. All right, so I'd probably be targeting the low volume node or this high up here. Either one would work. I like the low volume node a little bit more because that correlates with this little supply zone that's up there. And then yeah. Yeah, that so I would want to see, and it's kind of doing it now. I'm not even gonna lie. It doesn't look horrible, but it looks like it's trying to put in like a little three tapper. One, two, possibly this is it. Maybe it goes a little deeper into this or into this zone of volume. All right, and then comes down. So we do one of these. All right, and then come on up, something like that. I would start getting interested, especially if we start breaking structure. All right. You could take the reaction trade just whenever you got into the zone or tapped into that POC, you could have hit long, but I rather see the retest and the confirmation before going completely into throwing a lot of risk into the trade. All right. So now what happens if this becomes a dud? All right. What happens if this becomes a dud? I will do the exact same thing that I would have done with the longs. All right. I would have done I'm waiting for a break, a retest, coming back down. The only thing that concerns me, all right. So say if we just break from here, say we just break from here and we go down, coming back up. All right. Hold on. Boop. And we're coming back up. I would be concerned because we still have imbalance up here. All right. So I would personally wait to see this come over, try to retest this, and then fail. All right. Versus taking the retest, trying to get it to the dollar at this POC. I would like to see what happens around this area before I get involved. All right. Because, like I said, we have liquidity up here. We still have these highs up here. We could easily just come in, boom, boom, and come back up. Or something like this, where we come down, we get that little fake retest, come back up, boom. All right, so we still have stuff above us to be concerned about, but the same deal at the end of the day, I'm looking for a break, retest, and back down. Where am I targeting with this? I'm just going to start targeting lows. I'm just going to start targeting lows. These lows are your first lows that are quite obvious. These are equal lows, all right, and Monday lows. So this could very easily come down, SFP that, come back over, retest, bum. Very easily. All right. Other than that, guys, I'm not really looking at too much more. Everything's super immediate. There's a bunch of stuff above us that I could try to get concerned about. But to be honest, like at this point in time where we're at, the only thing I'm really concerned about is this volume node right here and right here. These volume nodes, the Monday low and the Monday high. That's what I'm really concerning myself about. Anything else, like I'm just gonna get caught in the weeds. For what? For what? You know what I mean? All right. So if we do get above here, All right, what I would like to see is some type of retest of this area. All right. I personally I love this number. Is this 96K? All right. I like that, especially taking out these Friday shorts. We could even possibly see a dip into here, all right, into that low volume node, which would give you a support and resistance flip. You might hit supply, you're filling this gap. So there's a lot of over there. All right. So I personally would look for good shorts around this area. And the way I would be looking for shorts if we got above, because guys, remember there's still a bunch of X's before we even get over here. I like to see a purge, retest, and then something like that. And I would enter on the market structure break and the break of this node. All right. Yeah, it doesn't always happen perfect like that, but something similar like that would definitely tickle my fancy. All right. Um, Other than that, let's see. How long has this been going? About 10 minutes or so. All right. So, other than that, guys, I really don't have much else to offer. I really don't have much else to offer. All I can say is that we're doing what we do with volume nodes. All right. Remember, you start seeing these imbalances. The reason why I like longing and shorting these areas because you typically range until you fill the volume. You want that to look like this, perfectly distributed. I know that looks like a special kid did it, but whatever. All right, you want this to look like that. And you know what, man? Especially since we're at the new year and stuff like that, volume's not at its highest. We could just be filling in this gap, you know? It would be cool to kind of see this. I personally would like to see something more like that and take this into account and bring price action around this area, you know? But maybe it just fills this. Maybe we just kind of jerk around here for the next day or two or three or even over the weekend. You never know. All right. So, something to be concerned about if we do go lower. Like I said, these lows here are definitely easy pickings. Below that, I like this level, and you guys can clearly see why. Because it's a volume node, it would sweep these lows. And you know what? I'm sure there's something within this area here. But honestly, if I were to see something, that would be a take profit level, but I would like to see something like that. All right. And then I could at least take this up to this next node up at 87. So if we come down to 84, 3-ish, I could see and get support and all that, purge that support. The next spot I'd be looking for is back up at 87.5, you know? So that's pretty much my game plan, guys. I don't really have much else for you, man. So I hope everybody has an amazing Christmas, or I mean, not Christmas. Jeez, amazing New Year's. And you know what? Spend it with the people you love. Make sure you don't drink and drive. Get home safe. Call an Uber. You know, we're all grown. We all are responsible enough to call an Uber. All right, and just have fun, man. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure to tag me. And yeah, have a great one, guys. Happy New Year, and I will catch y'all later. Peace.